Alright guys, today we're going to cover the AR-RPM9 steel. I have one CJRB example, two Artisan examples. These are the order that they came in to me. The Ria first, then the Arroyo, then the Sea Snake. So we're going to do this one a little bit different. These both acted exactly the same in sharpening, so you can put either one in here. But I got this one first. I did some cutting with it, and I went to sharpen it. Did what I always do. Set it up, verified the edge angle, and just verifying the edge angle a couple passes per side on a 1500 grit diamond plate. This got a good sized burr. Didn't think anything of it. Ran 600 grit, 1500 grit, and went to strop it. It would not deburr. No, my strop's not dirty. I also tried basswood and cowhide. When I say this wouldn't deburr, 16 micron on basswood pretty much deburrs anything. I could not get this to completely deburr. So I took the edge off completely, and instead of going to diamond plates, I went to the Veneve OCB stones. Sharpened it a second time, same problem. Took the edge off, third time, same problem. Up to the fifth edge. On the fifth edge, I was able to deburr most of this. After I had that problem with the Ria and RPM9, this came a few days later. Did a little bit of cutting with it and went straight to sharpening it. I skipped the diamond plates on this one and went right to the Veneve stone. Just to make sure it wasn't too aggressive of stone, started on the 400 grit, the 800 grit, couldn't deburr it. Same problem as this one. This also took 5 sharpenings to completely deburr, although it started to deburr in spots faster than this Ria did. So now that I was able to get both of these to deburr, took them back to the KME for testing using the diamond plates. Was able to sharpen them 3 more times so that I could test. So these were tested on edge 8 and verified on edge 9. You did see this one in the toughness beatdown testing. That was on edge 10. And then this one came. Went ahead and did a little cutting with this. Went straight to the Veneves to see if there was going to be the same problem. Felt about the same. None of these feel terribly hard. To give you an idea on this one, the very first time I sharpened it, I started on the 800 grit, 25% concentration Veneve stone, and single digit passes. I had a burr on here on both sides that I couldn't get off on the stone, couldn't get off on the strop. To put that into perspective, the 400 and 800 grit Veneve stone, this same Crew Manix that I did the same testing that I've been doing, I was able to almost completely deburr this on the 25% 800 grit Veneve stone. The sharks from Alex and the mini Bowie from John at BGM, all of those I can deburr on the 800 grit Veneve, and there is no reason for me to go to a strop. It's not the stone. 3 examples now, same problem. What I will say is this one I was able to deburr completely by the 4th sharpening. So this one started on the 7th edge for testing, was verified on the 8th edge. Is this a problem through all of the knives in RPM9? I don't know. I've only had these 3, and I've had the same problem with all 3. Took a different amount of sharpenings to be able to deburr this one from the other ones. So as I can get more to test, I will. I'll see how they act in sharpening. Like I said, though, I've not had many knives that I wasn't able to deburr after a few sharpenings like this. That definitely something going on. So now that we talked about sharpening, I can't say if your experience is going to be the same. If you do have any of these, if you have any AR-RPM9 and you've had a better experience with it, I'd love to hear it. So I'm going to go ahead and watch the cutting footage, and then we'll come back and talk about how all 3 of these did and what steel I think it compares to in use. Alright, now that we watched that cutting, go ahead and talk about how these knives did. So we'll start out with the Arroyo here. As I said, this was tested on edge 8 and edge 9. The first test on this one, and same as always, sharpened to 1500 grit, 631 micron, 5 passes per side, same as every other test. Same angles, same everything. First test, this did 80 feet fine edge, 78 feet working edge, for a total of 158 feet. Sharpened it up again for the verification test, and on that test, 78 feet fine edge, 79 feet working edge, for a total of 157 feet. The way this felt in sharpening, I really didn't know what to expect, that it was, what the performance was going to be like, but when it ended up doing what it did, I was not surprised that it only did 158 feet total for the best run. And the Ria here, this one was also run on edge 8 and edge 9. The first test, 77 feet fine edge, 66 feet working edge, for a total of 143 feet. Sharpened it again the same way, ran the test again, 78 feet fine edge, 66 feet working edge, for a total of 144 feet. And last, the Sea Snake. Remember, this one deburred one edge sooner, so this was tested on edge 7 and edge 8. And this one, on the first test, 85 feet fine edge, 75 feet working edge, for a total of 160 feet. Sharpened it again, verified the test, 83 feet fine edge, 76 feet working edge, for a total of 159 feet. Now that I've run 3 and they're all so close together, they all had issues with burr removal. They all felt soft in sharpening. I'm not surprised by the results of the test on these 3. Are they run soft? I can't say for sure, but they feel soft in sharpening. As I've talked about before, sharpening can tell you a lot, especially burr removal. You have a hard time removing a burr, usually not a good sign. What do I think this compares to? From testing and use, this reminds me a whole lot of VG10. If it wasn't marked in use, I would probably have guessed that these were in VG10, not their proprietary powdered budget steel. What will be more interesting is to compare VG10 through the toughness testing, just like I did with this one, and to see if the results are similar. If you guys haven't watched the video, you can. I did do toughness on the Arroyo, and this took damage from softwood, medium wood, and hardness, aluminum, brass. There wasn't anything that I put this against that it did not take edge damage. And obviously the harder the material, the worse it fared. It did take a little bit of chipping in here from the mid-hardness wood, and it took a good bit of chipping up through here from the brass. One good thing is this is super easy to sharpen, and that damage came out in no time. So I do want to see how this fares in longer term use. How does it do on a day-to-day basis? From all the testing so far, the little bit of use outside of testing, and the toughness testing, I'm going to say right now that it's going to be a whole lot like VG10, like I said a minute ago. I have a feeling it's going to use the same way, going to get the same kind of results. Does this compare to the 9CR18 of Civivi? Not as far as I can tell. Way less performance. Doesn't sharpen up as well. Well, now that we're close to 10 edges in on this one and over 10 on these two, does it come up nice now? Yes, it does. The problem is, though, is that, like VG10, the fine edge on this is less than most D2. The working edge is a little more, and I really dislike D2, but I'm also going to say right now, I have a feeling that in use this also is not going to do as well as D2 would. And I had higher hopes for this. How does it strop back? That's another reason why this reminds me of VG10. It does come back pretty well on a strop. How many times, I don't know. I haven't had time lately to use strop, so on. From testing, then stropping, comes back pretty decent on a strop. I don't know how well this is going to show up. This is strop back after use, and it does have I guess it's not going to show up on camera. It does have one spot up in here that did not strop back, and that was after give or take 100 feet of cutting cardboard. I did measure it out. It's roughly 100 feet before I stropped it. I'm hoping to have time to cut with it again, strop it again, maybe talk about it some more when I can get some more RPM9 to test. that's how these three did. Love to hear you guys' experience with this. 3 different models. I know this one was purchased quite some time ago. These two were purchased pretty close together. All acted the same in sharpening. All very close in testing. Would be curious to see how hard these are actually run. That is something I would like to see to get a better idea of why they're performing like they are. Until I test some more, that's all I have for this. As always, I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching.